Hello and welcome to Appetite for Distraction, the show that is to mobile gaming what I am to members of the opposite sex.
Yeah, ugly, stupid and far too short, no doubt.
I was going for well put together and highly entertaining, actually.
Helps to be ambitious, I guess. Coming up on this week's show, we continue the fight against boring bus journeys and uneventful trips to the toilet with 3 mobile games you can't afford to miss.
Then food, glorious food. We take to the kitchen for a look at some of the tastiest and mouldiest cooking games out there.
Giving us the perfect opportunity to try out our brand new feature, it's Seb's Zany Fun Time Sandwich Munching Preview Challenge.
Name needs a bit of work.
You could do with some work.
Keep making ugly jokes and I'm going to set fire to your desk. First up is a game that, frankly, you should have played by now. If you haven't, we're going to assume you were on Mars with your fingers in your ears going la 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 when it came out. Machinarium is a point-and-click adventure game from the maker of Samarost that stars a cute love-struck robot. Your job is to navigate a robot city, solving puzzles and dealing with its eccentric inhabitants. The game won several well-deserved awards for its beautiful visuals and excellent soundtrack, and we liked the PC version so much we reviewed it at an 8.0, which officially makes it great.
Our next game is an Android exclusive with a somewhat baffling name. It's called Rocketron, the Travelling Planet, setting it apart from all those stationary planets that aren't hurtling thousands of miles per hour through space. You play as the titular planet, attempting to guide his rotund self through misshapen corridors laced with spikes and pits of doom. Tapping on the screen switches gravity, letting you cling to the ceiling to avoid obstacles. It may look like it's been animated in Microsoft Paint, and it's pretty difficult, but Rocketron is ultimately a rewarding experience. Word of warning though, you might want to tie your Android device to your wrist so it doesn't actually hit anything when you inevitably throw it at the wall in frustration.
And finally, remember when steampunk was massive? A couple of years ago now, wasn't it? Then a few of us got a bit tired with the brass fittings and the crushed velvet waistcoats and, well, put our jeans back on. Not Bungie though, they've taken steampunk to the high seas to bring you Crimson Steam Pirates, a turn-based strategy title for iOS. So what does Bungie's first shot across the bow bring you? Well, according to the tagline, action over, above and below the waves, ignoring the fact over and above are more or less the same thing. Anyway, the game. The first thing you'll notice is the soundtrack, which could have come from a Hollywood blockbuster, because it practically has come from a Hollywood blockbuster. Remind you of anything? The game boasts a story of sorts, which is accented by painful posed photographs. Still, the art style is gunning for something a bit different, and we can appreciate the effort, but it's in the gameplay that Crimson Steam Pirates really earns its grog. The controls are pretty easy to pick up, and the turn-based sea combat is surprisingly engaging. The ships can be a little unwieldy, but then, as a rule, ships tend to be. You sail the high seas, taking on missions for, well, buxom models for the most part. This can be anything from sinking enemy vessels, boarding vulnerable ships, or just bombing fortified positions. Tearing it up on the ocean and blowing up ships is a lot of fun, though the hand-to-hand stuff, by comparison, is, well, a bit dry. Anyway, Crimson Steam Pirates has a 5-star rating so far on the App Store, and it's free. You really don't have an excuse for not downloading this title, unless you've got hooks for hands, that is. If there's one thing we hunger for more than mobile games here on Appetite for Distraction, it's...
Booze?
No.
Thick rim glasses?
No, it's food.
No hoodies?
No, it's food. We hunger for food, which is why we decided to combine the... You know what, I've completely lost my... Food games. Here are some food games. First up is Taco Master, preparing you for a career in the food service industry the fun way. You run a taco stand and have to keep up with demand for tacos with varying degrees of complexity. It's addictive, fast-swiping fun, and makes you feel surprisingly pro for a game based around slopping meat into crispy shells. If you fancy a pro tip, always keep your bench fully loaded with tortillas. It makes things run much smoother. Now, we don't often say this about mobile games, but honestly, when you get Taco Manager, play it with the sound off. The music is repetitive and the noises are disgusting. That said, your taco peddling boss does sound a lot like Metallica's James Hetfield when you do well. Hey-ya!
Now on to Kebab Manager, a mobile game celebrating the noble art of carving the elephant leg. It boasts a pleasing 8-bit soundtrack, and yep, that's pretty much all it's got in the way of originality. Bizarrely, it's pretty much a gangland simulator, with various territories being run by different shady characters. So you have to prove you're the most dangerous kebab shop proprietor around by playing a fast food version of Bejeweled. Baffling but free, which sort of helps. You could find far better games out there like this one, but it does have a certain novelty charm. One for the fans of ground lamb rotating slowly, I guess.
Next up is Sushi Go Round. Now, we'll admit we chuckled a bit when we saw this listed as a simulation on the App Store, but to be honest, Sushi Go Round is pretty damn close to how we imagine the experience of running a sushi restaurant. Customers stream in demanding sushi, and it's your job to give it to them. With customer mood meters and depleting ingredients, it's a surprisingly frantic race to keep everyone happy and order in fresh stuff over the phone. Luckily, there's a slightly sinister ply with sake option to keep bums in seats. Sushi Go Round then is well designed and well executed. Just don't think for a second it's going to be a relaxing experience playing it. It's really not.
Cupcakes! Yes, somehow this developer has managed to make money with a game that simulates making cupcakes in the most basic way possible, all without the payoff of actually eating them. There are some strange people out there. Still, if digital cupcakes are your thing, then you'll be pleased with the variety of toppings and colours on offer. Once you've made your cupcake creation, you can then go on to simulate eating it, though you seem to eat it from the perspective of a parasitic worm, burrowing through it rather than taking satisfying bites. Lovely.
And finally, if this one isn't already on your purchase list, you need to start downloading immediately. Sushi Cat is a cheap, cheerful and utterly charming physics-based puzzle game from Armour Games. Okay, so it's not a food app per se, but still, look at it! You play as a rotund cat who encounters numerous obstacles in his search for love with a toy cat, all of which he can overcome by gorging himself on sushi.
Right, that's almost it from us. Just time to try out a new feature. Well, more of a challenge, really.
Yeah, we feel game previews on the whole could do with a bit of spicing up. So now, for the very first
and most likely the last
time, here's Seb's zany fun time sandwich munching preview challenge.
Oh, we need to get some B-roll with the sandwich.
actual B-roll. Can you not use the other camera?
What sandwich B-roll? Okay.
So here we are in the breakout. This is Seb, as you well know. He's armed with a Cuban, which is a sandwich he's particularly fond of, and he's very well known for eating them quickly. So I'm going to tell him about the game Firmins, which I saw at Gamescom, and I have exactly as long to do it as it takes him to eat this sandwich. I've got some bullet points so I don't forget myself. Seb's he's armed with his mouth and his hands. So I guess here goes in 3, 2, 1, go. So I saw this game, it's called Firmins, and it's made by Housemarque. Basically, they've made a couple of different things, but this one in particular is for the iPad. And basically the plot is about things, they're titular firmins. They look a bit like the Treebles in Star Trek. They're little furry blobs and they emote. Mm-hmm. And basically they live in this kingdom and they've got this king, but the king's fallen asleep in the river, oh no, and he's obviously giant, being the king, with his crown, and he's dammed up the river. So it's caused an ecological disaster. Everyone's getting very thirsty and they might die out unless they can wake him up and move him out of the river, releasing the floodwaters and returning things back to normal. So basically this is where you come in. You have to guide all of the firmins into a basket, which for some reason is piloted by this weird space hawk. And you're supposed to gather them all up, so that they can wake up the king and return the kingdom to normal. And you do this, it's kind of like a combination with Drop the Chicken, where you have to arrange elements in the level and then hit go and the vermin stream out and hopefully they land in the basket. But more than just being that kind of passive style of gameplay, it's got an element a bit like Cut the Rope, where you have to time things right and you've got presses. So say they'll be rolling down a hill and they'll get onto like this trampoline type thing, and if you press it, it launches them across the level, and then they kind of hopefully get towards their destination. There are timed elements like blocks of ice, and you have to make sure that they melt at the correct time, so that then they drop down. And yeah, it's pretty cool. And I'm running out of things to say, and you're running out of sandwich. This is disgusting. So basically, yeah, they haven't quite nailed down the specifics of the story yet. This is fascinating. I've just totally lost my thread. I think good Lord, I may have failed Seb's Zany Funtime Sandwich preview on my first attempt. Oh dear. This is... Hey. So Seb, it's been a couple of minutes now since the challenge. How do you feel that went?
I think it went well. I feel like I know more about the game. I also feel sick.
Good.
Yes.
Well, that's good. Informative as well as nauseating.
Yep.
So join us next time for another edition of Seb's Zany Funtime Sandwich Eating Challenge. Okay, so that got a little ugly.
A bit like you.
That's it. I'm setting fire to your desk.
I don't think he would dare. Anyway, if you're a mobile developer, a fan of a mobile developer, or even a mobile developer's uncle, drop us a line at mobile@gamespot.com and suggest a game or two. In the meantime, I think I may have a small fire to deal with. I'll catch you next time.
I think he's going to struggle. If there's one thing we hunger for more than mobile games here on Appetite for Distraction, it's...
I kind of tensed my lips to say booze before you finished. I went in anticipation. It's Seb's Zany Funtime Sandwich Munching Preview Challenge.
For the first
and most likely the last
time, here's Seb's Zany Funtime.